Hey, students, we're going to take care of the last step on our NFL chart today, which is making some predictions. So, we're going to assume our data is normally distributed, right? Even though mine doesn't technically make a bell curve, we're going to again assume it's normally distributed, and we're going to make some predictions based on the empirical rule where different percentages of our population might fall. So, if you remember previous assignments, we looked at 68 percent of the population that falls within plus or minus one standard deviation of the mean. Then we had 95% of the population you fall within plus or minus two standard deviations of the mean, and then 99.7. So out of 1,000 players, 997 should fall within plus or minus uh, three standard deviations of the mean. So we'll go ahead and set these titles up, and then we've got the mean calculated, but we don't have the standard deviation calculated for our football player's weight. So let's go ahead and put a title here. And then we'll write our formula. Remember that starts with the equal sign. And we're going to go standard STD. And there's our standard deviation formula. So I want to look at every player's weight on my team. All right, so we'll go all the way down to the bottom here. Select them, hit enter, and there we've made the computer do some math for us. All right, so then we're going to write our formulas just like we did in class last week. We're going to go equals. We'll take the mean. We're going to subtract from that one standard deviation. There would be the minimum that 68% of my population would fall into. And then the max is going to be equals the mean. I'm going to hit the plus sign this time and add a standard deviation to it. All right, and then for my next step down here, this is plus or minus 2. I'm going to go equal this number minus another standard deviation. And I'll do the same thing down here, equal the number above minus a standard deviation. And then for this one, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to pick the number above, but this time I'm going to add a standard deviation to it. And I'll take this number and I'm going to add one standard deviation to it. And there we've applied the empirical rule. So based on the data that I've collected on the Green Bay Packers, I could project that 997 out of 1,000 NFL players are going to weigh between 103.4 and 382.2 pounds. All right, there might be three outliers that fall outside of that range, but that's where the majority should be. So you're going to apply this today. And then I want you to pick some other aspect of a sports team. So it could be, again, maybe height for a different sports team. It could be weight. Maybe you want to analyze like numbers of goals scored or something. I want you to pick a stat that you think would be pretty normally distributed. And between now and the end of class on Wednesday, you're going to do just like we did here. You're going to put it into a new spreadsheet. You're going to calculate the mean, median, and mode. Right? You're going to create a histogram chart with 7 buckets, just like we did on this one. And then you're going to calculate standard deviation and make some projections about that stat that you picked. So by the time the week is done, you should have 2 charts that look like this one in Google Sheets.